And good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Wednesday morning, and welcome to Casual Coffee with Ken. My name is Ken, and thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys are all having a really good week, and that you're coping as well as can be expected during this difficult time. If you're new here, this is a show where basically I look for positive stories on the internet and share them with you, so you don't have to go out and look for them yourself. You can find these, but you're not going to, generally speaking, you're not just going to see these stories covered on regular local and network news, because that's not what drives ad clicks or sponsor dollars. It's just bad news seems to be good for profits, but it's not really good for our mental health, and especially not my mental health, which is why I'm doing this, really, just so that I'm forced to seek out good stuff that's happening every day in our world. And if you are new here and this is your first time watching the show, even if you've watched multiple times, comment, because I can see the comments on Facebook and on Twitter and YouTube and even Twitch, I think. And yeah, I'd love to know where you're watching from, because that's the whole appeal of doing a live stream versus just making videos, which I did for a few years, is that real-time interaction and that feeling of connection in real time that I think is more important now than ever. So, ooh, God, today's tea. I guess that's a good way to segue into today's tea. The tea of the day. It's especially tasty. It's very, very good. And again, David's Tea is not a sponsor of this show, although I wish they were. We love their tea, and recently we discovered a new blend that seems to be a limited edition. So if you're all interested in this, I would get while the getting is good. It's called Unicorn Dream. It is caffeine free and it is tasty, tasty. Absolutely delightful. Uh, yeah, it's tangy because it's citrusy, and they note in the description that it has dreamy notes of sweet cotton candy and creamy marshmallow. And Karina and I can attest to the fact that it does indeed have a cotton candy flavor to it. I don't know how they got that flavor into a tea, but it is good. I'll give you a close up picture of the tea leaves here, and you can see the little heart shaped pink candy. That's probably how they're getting the cotton candy flavor, I'm going to imagine. But it is so very, very good. Love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, anyway, David's Tea, I would totally go there if I were you. I think it would be well worth your time. If you like loose leaf tea anyway, and you're going to be buying loose leaf tea, check them out. They're a little more expensive than some of the other places, but absolutely worth it because you use less tea. Sorry, you use less tea when you use David's tea, and so it lasts a good long time. Check out the color of this. The color of this is even wonderful. Let's see if I can do it justice here on camera. It's kind of a pretty purple, purplish pink hue, whereas yesterday's tea, the strawberry rhubarb, was definitely a deep red, well, like a berry red, almost like Kool-Aid. But this is just delightful. It really does taste like cotton candy somehow. So kudos to David's Tea for doing that. Really tasty, really good stuff. And good morning, Mr. Sean. Hope you're having a great day today. My allergies are going absolutely crazy today. Uh, Again, I look out the window at my car and it's just covered in pollen, yellow pollen dust, and I can feel it. I can really feel it. I've become dependent on Afrin nasal spray in order to breathe properly lately. This time of year, I'm not a fan. Karina and I are not fans of spring. Karina, because uh, of her depression, gets really bad in the first couple of weeks of April. I mean, pretty bad. Uh, and yeah, I hate the blooming everything. Everything blooms, and I'm just miserable for weeks. So, yeah, spring not our favorite time of year, not at all. Oh, okay. So let's see here. First story today. I think by now most people are familiar with the website that you can go to. That I think it's at Johns Hopkins that tracks all of the current coronavirus cases, and by state and by country, and it's informative, and it can be a little disheartening to look at those numbers. So some Florida State University students decided to create their own interactive map that's crowdsourced that people can contribute data to, and this is a brilliant idea. I love this. I absolutely love this. Um, it's to track stories of positivity, or acts of positivity during the pandemic. So these two Florida students, uh, Gabby Cintron and Vanita Okula from the FSU College of Medicine, have created the website that they call Kindness Amid the Coronavirus. And so basically, it asks people to contribute the locations where good things have been done during this pandemic, and just being able to quote see a map like that and see the mirroring and say, okay, there's a lot of bad that's spreading, but there's also a lot of good as a result. And as you might expect, there's been a lot of positive reaction to the site. People are pretty excited to see it. And the site itself went live on April 13th and already has submissions from the US, Africa, Australia, Europe, and Canada. Here's the actual site. It's kindnessamidcoronavirus.com. I'll, of course, link down to in the description box down below to the website, so you can go check it out for yourself. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You can submit your own story of kindness to have it included on the map, and then you can zoom in and kind of really dial down in different geographical areas, and it's a brilliant idea. So I mean, obviously I understand the need for a site that tracks the COVID virus, and how that's spreading, and the numbers. I mean, we need something like that to keep informed of what's going on. But a website that also tracks good deeds that are being performed throughout the world, I feel is equally as important, because we need to remind ourselves that the good things are happening right now too. So yeah, I appreciate that, and so I wanted you guys to know that there is this site. It's very cool. Uh, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys like it too. And let's see here. And good morning to one of my Twitch viewers. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having a good week so far as well. And yeah, I hope your Wednesday is treating you good. I'm always interested to hear what people are doing to keep themselves occupied during this quarantine. I know it's affecting everybody a little bit differently. And so I'm just curious to know what people are doing. So if you want to chime in and let people know how you're getting through the pandemic and the quarantine, uh, maybe that information can help other people with some ideas as well. And you are working at the moment. Okay, so you're one of the essential workers. Well, uh, I am just going to say thank you for doing what you're doing, whatever that might be, and to say that I truly appreciate everybody who is in an industry that still requires them to essentially be on the front lines of this, coming into contact with people on a daily basis in some instances. And I empathize at how much additional stress that can put on someone. And just thank you for doing what you're doing, because so many people right now are keeping our world running in a manner that we are accustomed to. And, you know, if it wasn't for people going to work in grocery stores, going to work in hospitals and doctors' offices, uh, going to work in sanitation, uh, showing up at the power plant every day. I mean, there's so much infrastructure that depends on dedicated people who are, in effect, every time they go out of the house, putting themselves at risk. And I, for one, can't say thank you enough. So I'm glad you're still working, glad you still have some income, and I'm glad that you're doing whatever it is you're doing, because it's important. And I don't think enough people realize that. So thank you. This tea is so good. Again, David's Tea, Unicorn Dream is the blend. Got to get a hold of this. It's limited edition, so seriously, if you're hesitant at all, don't. Okay, the next story today. Um, Everybody knows that Amazon dominates online shopping. And some people might not be aware that they got their start before they became this juggernaut for everything that you can possibly want to buy. They got their start in books, and they are single handedly responsible for a lot of smaller local independent bookstores going out of business. And since the pandemic hit, those independent bookstores are under even more pressure. It's very hard for a lot of smaller bookstores to compete in the online arena because Amazon is just a behemoth. But there is a group that has created an online book selling platform that is available to be used by independent bookstores. And they distinguish themselves from what Amazon does in this respect by sharing a much greater percentage of the profit from each sale of each book with those independent bookstores. And so the name of the website is called Bookshop. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can search on their site for a bookshop that is local to you, and then buying books through that local bookstore, they will receive the full profit of the sales. And so it's really cool if you think of it. A bookstore in your town that does not have a website, doesn't have a web presence, isn't able to do online sales, they can sign up with Bookshop, and list their inventory through Bookshop, and then you're able to actually buy online from a store that doesn't have its own online presence. And that local store will get 100% of the profit from that. If you just want to support local independent bookstores in general, maybe you don't have a local independent bookstore in your town anymore because of Amazon, your sale, the proceeds from your sale will be put into an earnings pool that is then evenly distributed among independent bookstores, and not just independent bookstores that use Bookshop. They're supporting all independent bookstores, or at least that's their goal. So I think this is just amazing. They have an affiliate program, just like Amazon does, for people who want to, resell books on their site. You can sign up to be an affiliate, start your own bookshop through bookshop.org, and as they put it on their site, be rewarded for your advocacy of books. And by design, they say they give away over 75% of their profit margin to stores, publications, authors, and others who make up the thriving culture around books. So it's cool. It's called bookshop.org, and so far they have raised just over $1 million for local bookstores across the country. So it's awesome. Like I went here and I found a bookstore in my local area, and if I order books from them, they get 100% of those profits. It's just great, and this has potential to actually become real competition for Amazon, which is needed. It really is. And again, this is how Amazon started, is selling books to people at low prices and with very speedy shipping turnaround times. And that's how they came to dominate. It's brilliant that someone seems to have figured out how to replicate this in a way that's going to benefit independent bookstores. And I love it. Again, I'll go ahead and post the link in the description down below after the show. And just wanted to share that because I love books. My only, it's not a problem with this, but the conundrum Karina and I face is we're big fans of ebooks. And so we at the moment are very tightly locked in to Barnes and Noble's ecosystem. All of our ebooks are through Barnes and Noble. We read them on our Nook e-reader. And so I'm hoping maybe eventually Bookshop will get to a point where they can offer ebook versions of their inventory for all these different independent bookstores that are easily sideloadable onto devices like Kindle and Nook and Kobo and all the various e-readers. But yeah, great cause, great idea. So okay, this next story is really very much falls under the inspirational category. If you have known someone either in your family or just someone you know in life who has had a loved one suffering with dementia or Alzheimer's, it's a very painfully cruel diagnosis to deal with. So there's an assisted living facility that has kind of gone the extra mile to help patients with dementia and Alzheimer's that are residing there feel a little bit more at home. And it's a very clever way they've gone about doing it, which is why I wanted to talk to you guys about it today. It's an assisted living facility designed to look like a small town from the 1940s. So they, through a lot of observation of dementia and Alzheimer's patients, they've found that while the people with these types of cognitive impairment diseases don't often retain new memories very well, they do seem to be able to recall images, places, memories of things that happened to them in their 20s and 30s. And so um, they have decided to create a nursing home that looks like a golf course community, with the facades of the homes kind of resembling what you would see in in early 40s and 50s, early 20th century or mid 20th century housing development. It's just, I don't know, it's mid 20th century is too early. Like Leave It to Beaver kind of thing. So it's very cool. Someone shared a Facebook of this one particular community called Lantern of Chagrin Valley in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. And it's specifically designed for patients with dementia and Alzheimer's. And so the interior courtyards just look like little tiny houses with porch lights and stuff on them. And their sky ceiling, you can see that it actually changes throughout the day and the evening. And so it'll display a starry sky at night and moving clouds. And there's like bird chirping sound effects in the background. The porch lights on the house facades turn on as dusk falls. It's really cool. They even take a page out of Disney's book and pump calming scents in the air. So I mean, it's fun. It's a really neat idea on how to make people with dementia and Alzheimer's more comfortable and feel a little bit safer. It's just really, really cool. So yeah, it's a very interesting idea, and of course they have occupational therapists, um, recommend this kind of approach, along with physical, speech, and psychotherapists, and so they're hoping that putting Alzheimer's and dementia patients in a setting like this, where everything feels kind of vaguely familiar and comforting, it'll help slow the progression of the disease. So loved it. I just wanted to share that with you. I will go ahead and post a link down to the Facebook page of that particular assisted living center. Check it out. I mean, the only problem is, as you would expect, it's very expensive. But yeah, it's still a great idea, and I was really pleased to see that my grandfather on my mother's side died from Alzheimer's, and it's not an easy diagnosis for anybody. So yeah, my grandmother went through a lot, as did mom. So I love that there are people taking proactive approaches to dealing with the condition. And so yeah, I'll stop rambling. Check it out after the show. The link will be below for you. And then to end today's show on a much lighter note, I don't know if you're familiar with Mexican wrestling. It's a whole different thing from WWE, that kind of wrestling, or organized sport wrestling that you see in the Olympics and high schools and colleges, that kind of thing. Greek wrestling, Greco-Roman. Mexican wrestling is its own thing. It's very dramatic and theatrical, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's not as cheesy as WWE kind of stuff. But this is funny. So obviously they're not wrestling right now. But what's that, Sean? Yeah, Lucha or Luca. I don't know how it's pronounced, but yeah, that's exactly it. Since they're not wrestling, they are using their skills at making costumes to make masks, face masks that people can wear outdoors, which you're supposed to be doing. And they, of course, have the Lucha Libre style to their COVID face masks. Look at those things. They are great. So, uh, they're doing this partly in response to the fact that the coronavirus is spreading very quickly in Mexico. And as a result, in a lot of parts of the country, it's mandatory to wear a mask. Since they can't make a living actually wrestling competitively, they are making money now by designing these lucha libre COVID masks, and it's brilliant. Absolutely love it. There's a very interesting screen still from a lucha libre match. Uh, it's yeah, it's very interesting. I love the fact that they're anonymous. It just adds something to it. There's another picture of some of the array of lucha libre masks that are available. It's fun. So I love that they're doing this. Um, yeah, it's just a clever thing to do. I mean, it's taking an iconic part of their sport and adapting it in what seems to me a perfect way to the current environment that we find ourselves in, living with Corona. It's just brilliant. I love it. It makes me smile. Um, if I can find, I was looking for the website link if there's any way to buy them internationally. And if I find it, I will of course post it down below for you guys too. But I thought that was fun. That was they were definitely unique. If you get your hands on a Lucha Libre uh, COVID-19 mask, you will definitely stand out from the crowd. It's fun. I mean, it's neat that there's a whole new industry kind of popping up as a result of this. And I don't know. Yeah, it's. I would rather that we didn't have to deal with a pandemic, but as we have to, it's nice that there are some fun, interesting options to help people stay safe during this very troublesome time. And that's my 2 cents on it. Anyway, that's it. That's our show for today. Cannot believe how fast this half hour goes by. Do me a favor though, if you enjoyed today, if you like what I'm trying to do here, after the live broadcast ends, it does stay up as a video link. Go ahead and share the link with your friends and just let them know that there is an option if they're missing, that feeling of connection and they want to be able to just, say hi and chat with someone in real time. That's a fun part of the show, and it's just nice that I think that there's an option for a program that's it's just trying to be positive. So anyway, thank you again. I will see everybody right back here tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific time. Remember, no, there's not going to be a show on Friday, but there will be one tomorrow. So I hope to see you then. And until that time, I'm Ken McKim. You take care. And remember to be kind to yourself and to others because kindness matters now more than ever. All right. Take care, everybody.